Live from the Business RadioX studio inside Renaissance Bank, the bank that specializes in understanding you. It's time for North Fulton Business Radio.
And hello again, everyone. Welcome to another edition of North Fulton Business Radio. I'm John Ray, and folks, we are broadcasting as usual from inside Renaissance Bank in beautiful Alpharetta. And if you are a small business owner and you are tired of the impersonal, soul-crushing mega bank experience, I'm not mentioning any names, but you know who I'm talking about, folks. If you're at one of those banks and experiencing that, here's what I hear from those business owners that I refer to Renaissance, that Renaissance is big enough to handle pretty much any need you can throw at them, but they're small enough to deliver their services in a personal way. If that's the sound of the banking experience that you want to hear in your business, then go to renaissancebank.com, find one of their local offices, and be in touch. I think you'll be glad you did. Renaissance Bank, understanding you, member FDIC. And now I want to welcome my good friend Maria Fundora. Maria is with Casa Nuova Italian Restaurant, of course, and she's here today to talk about purple pansies. Maria, welcome.
Hey, John. So nice to be here with you, and thank you for inviting me on your show again. It's good to see you.
Always good to see you, and I'm delighted to have you here, and particularly to talk about what you're going to talk about, purple pansies. But for those that don't know you, don't know Casa Nuova Italian Restaurant and purple pansies, give everyone an introduction to that work.
Thank you again for having me on. I'm the owner of Casa Nuova. We're going on year 27. We are an authentic Italian restaurant. Next door, we have a little wine shop called Cork and Glass, which is also fabulous. Probably what I do, as I am a volunteer for Purple Pansies. I'm the founder of Purple Pansies, and we started in 2008 with the loss of my mother in 2007, who I lost to pancreatic cancer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that was the inspiration.
That was the inspiration. My mom was such an amazing woman, and to lose her in 3 months with no warning. Just woke up one day with a pain in her abdomen, and we go in and stage 4 pancreatic cancer. She lasted 3 months. When that happened to my family, I said, this is not right. I have to do something. And that's what started me on the journey of trying to raise awareness for pancreatic cancer and try to get some funding for pancreatic cancer. That started it all.
So let's talk about the disease itself and why it's so vital to continue to fund research for pancreatic cancer, why maybe where it sits in terms of how it affects our population. Let's talk about some of those issues.
Pancreatic cancer is the third leading cause of cancer. The NIH, the National Institute of Health, says that by the year 2030, it's going to be the second leading cause of cancer. And it's a silent killer. When you become symptomatic, it's usually stage 4. And I like to feel that the work that we have done we have gone from, at the time that I started working on pancreatic cancer, the survival rate was probably about 1%. We are probably right now at about 15%. Lots of exciting things have happened since 2007, and we're in 2024. There's a lot of hope at any of the stages.
It's amazing. Let's stop there and underline that, because when you can go, 15% doesn't sound a lot. You have a lot of chances until you realize that you came from 1%.
That's correct.
Right?
Correct. Absolutely.
That's amazing.
We would like for that to be able to continue. And how do we do that? Through early detection. That's one of our focuses this year, is about early detection, and of course also to identify and invent and grow other kinds of medications and treatments for people that are at stage 3 or stage 4. Like on my team, I have a couple of people that are stage 4. One is a 22-year survivor, another one a 13-year survivor. There is hope. It's just about getting the right medical care, about finding if you have an issue. Pancreatic cancer is a slow-growing disease. It's not like you wake up one morning and you have pancreatic cancer. You probably have had it for over 10 years. It's a very slow-growing cancer that has no symptoms. Usually, if they find it early, they're looking for something else.
Right. It's accidental.
It's accidental, correct.
Or serendipitous. Why is it that it's not detected sooner?
There hasn't been a lot of ways to be able to find it unless you had a CAT scan or an MRI. There are now a lot of blood tests out there, which are not yet covered by the insurance companies in terms that they are not standard of care, which is one of the things that I would love to be able to see in my lifetime. That I go for my physical, and on my panel of what they order for blood work, that they're testing if I'm a carrier for anything that has to do with pancreas cancer. I would love to be able to see that in my lifetime. So part of the things that Purple Pansies, what we raise money for, of course, is research and clinical trials. But to actually address the problem as we walk through the journey of what we do, we also provide grants with people who are struggling. It's a really horrific cancer. A lot of people can't work. So we support a lot of families nationally that apply on our website, purplepansies.org, for a grant. We vet them, of course, and some of the stories, John, are they're heartbreaking. And then we also provide scholarships for children across the United States annually that their guardian or their parent are fighting pancreas cancer. We had this year one recipient that actually under the age of 20 that had pancreas cancer. So we are seeing pancreas cancer in a lot of younger people, which I don't know what it's showing, but that's not good. So,
right.
So that's why we need funding for all of those things. Federal funding is only 6%. The rest of the 94% come from personal people or small foundations like ourselves that are providing money for testing, clinical trials, research, all of those kinds of things.
So let's share, you don't have to mention names, of course, but share one of those stories of the stories that you hear, folks, that what they have to deal with in going through and dealing with a pancreatic cancer diagnosis.
I'll talk about one of our survivors without mentioning names. They had gone in for something else, and I think they were getting a CAT scan when they found the tumor. And of course, they went to the ER because there was a lot of pain. And they told them, you have a mass on the pancreas. We're going to have to do a biopsy. And they found out they had pancreas cancer. This person is still alive. I think they were at a stage 3. They were able to have the Whipple procedure, plus, of course, chemotherapy and radiation. When you are getting all of those things, you really cannot work. So you either have to have a big bank account to pay your bills. It's extremely hard to be able to work. It's not like some of the other cancers because it's a very painful cancer. So trying to find medical care that's the top of the line. Right now here in Atlanta, you have City of Hope, which is here, and also Piedmont Hospital that are offering, and Emory, of course, clinical trials for these patients. But before, it was really just hard to find people that specialized in that. My particular friend had to go to several places until she was able to find help and try to get cutting edge. If you have pancreatic cancer, you need to either be on a clinical trial or you need to be able to have the best care, which is sometimes hard to find if you live in a small town.
Sure.
You have to come to a big city to be able to try to get the best medical care. So there's a little bit more hope now. But as I said earlier, it is really hard to fight, and it wouldn't be wonderful if we were able to find it at stage 0 or stage 1, where that person would have an opportunity to live. One of my people or researchers that I meet with, and amazing, Dr. Daniel Van Hoff, he is the guru of pancreatic cancer on a global stage. He said, Maria, if with the meds that we have right now, if we're able to detect it at stage 0 or stage 1, the survival rate is over 80%.
Wow.
But it is right now not standard of care that you go and they check for these things. So that's one of the things that we're trying to advocate. You have to ask for the test, and the physician then has to know about the test. It's a process.
Okay, let's insert that before I get to my next question. Let's just insert what folks that want to ask for this test, what do they need to tell their doctor?
There's several out there. They need to ask for their doctor, hey, can you get me the blood test? And from what I understand, they're charging like between $250 to $1,000 for the blood test. Mm-hmm. So they need to ask, can you give me or find me or administer the blood test to test for pancreatic cancer, the markers.
And this is something that health insurance typically does not pay for.
That is correct.
So the push here is to try to get insurance companies to
make it standard of care. Like when you go check your cholesterol or your hemoglobin or things like that.
I was going to get into their economics to look at the long-term value of diagnosing this early as opposed to paying out in future years when current management is no longer there at the insurance company. But that's neither here nor there.
That's another topic.
That's another topic, another show. But so this individual, though, did survive.
Yes, they're still with us.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Most of the ones that have survived are ones that have had the Whipple procedure, that have had chemotherapy before the procedure and after the procedure. Right now, that's the standard of care. Before, the standard of care was that they gave you chemo before and then they did the Whipple, or they went right to the Whipple. You didn't have chemotherapy before and after. But now the standard of care is chemo before or radiation, the Whipple procedure, and then chemotherapy after the procedure as well to make sure that they got everything.
But for those that don't know, the Whipple procedure, what is that? It's
like a transplant procedure. Mm-hmm. They go into the abdomen and they reconnect and they take out the tumor. I think in some people they may take out the entire pancreas, and some people they take half, but it's a reconnection between the stomach, the liver, and the pancreas. I'm not a physician, but if you Google it, you'll find. We do have it available here in Atlanta. You have hospitals like Emory and Piedmont and the City of Hope Hospital that do the Whipple procedure. I'm not sure if Northside does. I would think that they do as well. So it is available right here. One of the things that we find with Purple Pansies, with some of our grants, sometimes we give people a grant for transportation to come to the city because they live in a small town, for example, outside of Georgia, or even if they live in another state and they're in a small town and they can't get to a major center, we provide funding for those people to get transportation to those hospitals and those centers.
Yeah, that is such amazing work. I guess a couple things there. One is just the research that's being done here. As I understand it, if you are a clinician and you're coming through and you're picking what your area of study is going to be, it's sometimes hard to make the choice of a disease like pancreatic cancer because it does not get the funding that other cancers do. Not that's not worthy, but it does not get the same level of research. And that's part of the gap you're trying to fill here, right?
That's correct.
Yeah, am I right about all that?
Yeah, absolutely. It's about trying to find the best medical care for these patients, or trying to give them resources of where they can go,
right,
or get another set of eyes for each case, because sometimes they've been given the wrong advice and they really need a second opinion as to what to do about their case. We run across that a lot, and our organization, Purple Pansies, has been able to do that, where we connect people, or we ask, like right here in town, Piedmont Hospital, Dr. Andrew Page is probably one of the top surgeons in the country for pancreatic cancer. We have those kinds of relationships where we can make the connection and try to get the patient in as quickly as possible. And Dr. Page and several people that we have referred, within a week, they're being seen. And when you call for an appointment, he might be booked out for 3 or 4 months. So we try to provide that service as well.
Yes. And time is of the essence.
Time is of the essence.
Given the speed with which this disease can wreak havoc.
Yeah, once you're at stage 4, it moves pretty quickly. It is a very slow growing cancer. You might have pancreatic cancer for 10 years and you don't even know it.
Right.
That's why early detection is so important. And that's one of the things that we are trying to work on, and trying to educate and bring about more awareness about why early detection is so important, and opening maybe centers across the United States that you can go in and get a full workup on. And you might not have the gene for pancreatic cancer, but they might find another gene that you might be a carrier for of another kind of cancer. Testing is very important, and being able to detect early, like in breast cancer. That's why breast cancer has become, the survival rate for breast cancer is amazing.
Yes. Yes.
And Susan B. Komen Foundation started with, she lost her sister.
Right.
And that's how it started, small. That's how we started. And we've raised a little bit under $6 million since I have been doing this.
Wow. And that's been 15 years, right?
Our first event was held at Casa Nuova in 2008 on Mother's Day. I think that year I raised $3,000. Last year we almost raised $1 million. So that's
awesome.
It's grown quite a bit. I love this work. I think if I wasn't a restaurateur, I would be totally just raising money and awareness for my cause full time.
Yeah. Wow. Given the impact you've had, it feels like it's full time.
It feels like it's full time.
Yeah, but if we're looking at the results, it's fabulous work you're doing.
Yes,
Maria.
and
thank you so much.
I've got a great team. My co-chair who joined our team in 2017, her name is Janice Chalovich. She's amazing. She's got some gifts that I do not, and we've complemented each other very well. I have a small board. There's 5 people on our board. All of the individuals on the board are just truly amazing people that they're giving of their time, because no one's on the payroll. We're all volunteers for the cause. So it's really grown quite a bit. We became a 501c3 in 2017. So between 2008 and 2016, we were just grassroots, and we would donate our funding through TGen, which is in Arizona. But becoming a 501c3, we're able to do a lot of different things that we weren't able to do before as just a grassroots organization.
Got it. Folks, we're chatting with Maria Fundora. She's with Purple Pansies. The cause is pancreatic cancer and ending pancreatic cancer. Maria is also, along with her 3 amazing young people, her children, they run and own Casa Nuova Italian restaurant, which I'm going to give you a shout out on that in a second.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
But let's talk about the event coming up. So it's the Pillars of Hope Gala. This is the 15th year of the gala. Is that correct?
So this is the 15th year of the gala, correct?
Okay.
It's the Pillars of Hope Gala, and it's this year's on September the 15th.
Mm-hmm.
It is at Astro Celebrations in Cumming, Georgia. And this year, the vision is that it tells the story of purple pansies. It's very experiential. You will walk in and you are just going to be totally blown away because it tells the story of how we started and where we are. Lots of great food. Casa Nuova will be catering the event, open bar, wine pairing. It's a lot of fun, but it is a magical night. It is a night of hope. It is a night that for us, it helps us raise the most funding that we do all year long. And I do it in September. November is a Pancreatic Cancer month. I do it in September because I lost my mom in September.
Got it.
For me, every year that I do this, I honor my mom and I honor her life.
Yeah.
And she was a very giving woman. And I've made it my goal through Purple Pansies to try to help others in the community, not just my local, but wherever they are.
You have gotten a lot of folks that have signed on to support. Who do we need to shout out that are supporting you in this work?
This year in particular, Modelo beer, Coca-Cola
Wow.
is huge.
That's one.
The wine group,
Mm-hmm.
wonderful folks, and a lot of people's personal foundations that have listened to our cause and have gone forward.
Yeah. Wow. That's fantastic. For those that cannot attend, though, you're happy to welcome their support in other ways, right? You're happy to take a donation, but I'm sure there are other ways that folks can lean in and support this night, this special night.
Of course, we're always looking for volunteers. We would love people to actually come to the event as well. Volunteers is always really big for us. We're always looking for people to help us in different ways to get the message out. And
Let's mention some of those ways.
some of those ways is actually all the back end stuff, all the paperwork or the thank you notes or doing follow up, writing grants for us, all those kinds of things. Work, all of those kinds of things. We would really appreciate volunteers. And of course, the days that we do have events for people to physically volunteer would be amazing.
Yeah.
You can, and of course, you can always make a donation at purplepansies.org. And also on our website, you can apply for a grant, you can apply for a scholarship, and you can volunteer. And of course, you can make donations or buy tickets to the gala.
Lots of ways to connect, lots of ways to be involved, and you're 100% volunteer. Did I get that right?
That's correct.
Wow.
That's correct.
So basically everything that gets contributed in one way or the other goes to research or helping folks that have this horrible disease or scholarships.
For young people.
Got it. It goes to the cause.
It goes to the cause directly.
Wow.
We appreciate anyone who would like to help us in this journey. As I said, it's the third leading cause of cancer. It's a silent killer. We really need help. Please join us on September 15th at Astro Celebrations or go to purplepansies.org.
Maria Fundora, Purple Pansies. Maria, thank you so much for the work you do. You're just an amazing individual, and we're just honored to know you and celebrate your work.
Thank you so much for having me on, John. Love you lots.
Yeah, you too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, folks, just a quick reminder, if you've been listening to this show regularly, you know that I have been shouting out Casa Nuova Italian Restaurant. I don't know if you've heard of this nice little Italian restaurant that's almost 27 years old, located on Highway 9, just north of McFarland Road. Yes, they are cooked to order, and what I like to say, Maria, is you were farm to table before that was cool.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, before it was cool in the year 2000, my husband planted our first little acre to grow things for the garden, for the restaurant in the garden. And before it was cool, now everybody says we're farm to table, but we've been doing it now for 24 years. This year we've planted 14 acres of garden.
14 acres. Wow.
Yeah.
Behind the restaurant folks. So they walk out, go grab the tomatoes, corn, peppers, zucchini, herbs, and more, bring it in and cook to order. So it is not just classic, authentic, and traditional Italian cuisine. It is fresh and classic and authentic and traditional Italian cuisine. Truly fresh. And it's fabulous. My wife and I were there just a week or so ago, and it was just marvelous. Every time we go, we say we don't come enough. If that's the kind of Italian food you'd like to experience and you have not been there, you need to go to CasaNovaRestaurant.com to learn more, to make reservations, and don't forget their catering. They do fantastic catering as well. Also, a couple quick things. I have a book out. It's called The Generosity Mindset, A Journey to Business Success by Raising Your Confidence, Value, and Prices. If you are a solopreneur, small services firm that sells your expertise, that's your business, you're a consultant, you're a coach, attorney, accountant, what have you, this book may be for you. Go to thegenerositymindset.com to learn how to buy the book and learn more about the book itself. Also, I just want to thank you, our listener. We love you because the truth of the matter is we wouldn't be here without you. When we started this show, I had no idea where it was going to go, and I certainly did not anticipate celebrating show number 800, but that's where we're headed. In the next few weeks, we'll celebrate show number 800 of North Fulton Business Radio, and we've only gotten this far because of you and your support. So thank you for supporting us in this work as we celebrate business leaders, community leaders in the North Fulton region, shine a light on their work. We live into our mission to do that thanks to you, and we appreciate you. So for my guest, Maria Fundora, I'm John Ray. Join us next time here on North Fulton Business Radio.